Hey everybody, welcome to the back room. And on today's show, we've got a special guest host, and I'd like everyone to give a big warm welcome to Sean Mahoney. Hey, Shawnee.
Hey, Joey, how you going?
Good, mate. Thank you so much for doing this. I mean, I've been wanting you to come on for a while. I didn't envisage that this show would end, but, you know, like all good things, I think it's good to end on a good note. And
Sure.
Thanks for being on the last show. So, do you want to just tell the listeners a little bit about you, maybe a little bit about your background?
Sure. Okay. Well, firstly, thank you very much for inviting me to do this with you. I was excited to join you on SMB TV for the back room, even though it is sadly the last episode. But looking forward to our chat today. Quite a story, but that's maybe for another day. I'm 52 years old. I'm separated. I have 3 children, ranging in age: 12-year-old daughter, 17 and 20-year-old sons. I run a company, so that keeps me very busy. I used to travel a lot before COVID. I'm starting to travel again a bit now, which is interesting. Let's say totally different world there. I guess the way that I got to meet you was through SMB on Facebook at the height of lockdown 18 months ago, 2 years ago.
2 years ago, my God.
All of a sudden, at the age of 50, here I was on my own in lockdown, learning to cope and live on my own, which was an interesting time. But
and what was some of the things that you really got into during lockdown?
Okay, so exercise. Obviously, my health and fitness are very important to me, because if I can keep physically healthy, I can keep mentally healthy. Mind you, lockdown 4, I spent on the couch eating chocolate chips.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I love the sweet chili and sour cream chips. So lockdown 4 was just chocolate chips and Netflix, and about 15 kilos.
Because you're really you were the SMB, you're not a personal trainer, but you were like the inspiration motivator. So because you were really motivated. Why do you think you got motivated compared to everyone else? I didn't my stomach blew up so big. What made you motivated? Was it just the fact that it was the right time?
I think so. I think I was at the stage in my life where I decided, hey, I'm turning 50. I want to be fit and healthy and live for a lot longer, especially to be here for my kids, and to be able to engage with them. And when you're with them every day and then all of a sudden you're not, it makes the time you're with them even more important. And I want to be present with them as much as possible, and that means looking after myself.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. I really enjoy it as well.
And I love it. I love seeing that. I love that. I can see it. And that's what's addictive, is that you're not just showing that normal, photos of you just doing stuff. You actually can see the joy in it. So it's good. And you mentioned that you are traveling again. So what are you doing?
Yeah. So I guess one trip that I did do in that 2-week period when Australia opened its borders last year, I actually got to Germany for 2 weeks, and I got back the day before Scott Morrison locked the borders again, so I didn't have to isolate. It was very lucky.
Was it weird? Was it weird going overseas?
It was, because we had to fly via Darwin because no one could fly to Perth. Obviously, they were locked down, and it was a long flight from Darwin to London. But landing in Heathrow Airport and just seeing it like it was 3 years ago, thousands of people everywhere, just brought me back a sense of normality and the hope that, okay, we are going to get through this. Life does go on, because that was even just towards the end of lockdown 6 when we weren't certain of what was happening. So it was exciting to be there.
Yeah.
I have last week, I think I booked hotel rooms in Brisbane, Sydney, Christchurch, Auckland, Vienna, and Venice. So that's a lot of hotel rooms to book in one day.
For you, you feel like you're back into the travel, and you just want to embrace it.
Getting there. And there's a sales meeting that I'll be going to in Vienna. There's a company we deal with there, and they're like my family, the people who run that company. I'm really lucky to have them in my life. They definitely look after me. And so it would be wonderful to see them. I did see two of those people in Germany in November. I surprised them, and I've got that filmed because everyone had tears. It was amazing to see these people after 2 years. And then I'll spend a week there, and then I'll go over to Italy because my company's having a sales meeting in Abano, which is near Padua and Venice. But the most exciting part of this trip, my two sons are coming with me.
Oh, wow. So, so you're really just, it's like normality for you again. Because, like, for me, I'm listening to you, and I've got, like, I was supposed to go to Queensland for when the first lockdown happened, and so I couldn't go. I got a refund, and that $1,000 voucher. Every time I booked a flight to go to Byron Bay, every flight's been cancelled. So my $1,000 voucher is now worth $499. That's how much I've paid in fees and all that. But like, part of me, like, I'm sort of like I'm not excited. And I'm an avid traveller, so I've got to get that sort of feeling back.
Yeah, you need to get the spark back, and I think once you start doing it,
you know what it is, Sean? What I have to do first is I really don't like people at the moment. Because no. But what I mean is, like, I went to a comedy show 2 weeks ago, and it was thousands of people, and I really felt like, like I wish I was at home watching it on television. Isn't that weird? But I'm sure the more I do of that, the more, it's just that I've really enjoyed lockdowns. And so now people and traffic.
Yeah. Oh, the traffic, don't start me. But we've been desensitized from crowds and big groups of people because for 2 years we were told that was wrong. So there's that. But also we have our own internal fear of perhaps being in a crowded area, given that, we might get COVID, but
that's what it is. That's what it is. Because there's been, I hate watching news when they talk about, because there's a new one, isn't there? I saw that yesterday that there's
a new variant.
What's it called? Do you know?
I'm not sure what it's called. I'm sorry, I'm not up on that. But
so like that's why I thought, because it said on the ticket everyone has to wear a mask, and no one wore a mask, like not one person, right? And so I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to catch it, but I've been really lucky. Touch wood. Have you had it?
Touch wood, so have I. No, I have not had it, and for 2 years I've kept it out of the workplace, and unfortunately someone was turned unwell at the workplace on Thursday, and I got them to do a rapid test and they tested positive. So for that reason, I do isolate them, get them home safely, and all we have to do is test once a day for 5 days, don't have to isolate. Thankfully we weren't exposed to him for a long time. Time will tell. We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I think I really do think that some people just don't catch. I really think that because of my job, I'm a therapist, and I really should have caught it by now. Yeah. So I think that some people just don't catch it, or I've had it and I just didn't. I didn't realize. I'm putting it. That's what I'm telling myself. But I went to see Ronnie Chang. Oh my God, that was the best. That was the best sort of. Do you know who that is? Yeah.
A comedian, but
he was the guy in the new Marvel movie. But he's like an Asian guy, and he's he's really big in America now. He's from Melbourne, and it was really good. I love comedy, so he's just really. I wasn't expecting to be as political as it was, because he works on a political show in the US, but it was really political and very about racism and all that. So I was really extra surprised because it was really good. I really loved it. All right, let's start the show. So, as we said, this is the end of the Backroom. This is the 3rd season, and today we're going to talk about, just again, mental health issues for men, and we will be reminiscing about some of the past 2 years, and there'll be some clips and all that. So, we'll be back after this break. Okay, welcome back. So what I wanted to talk about, Sean, is I guess the Ukraine and what's been happening, and I wanted to talk about what we think is going on for some of those Ukrainian men and boys that are deciding to fight for their country without having. I was watching something where I saw that they do like a 2-day or something training, and then they're given a gun and they have to go and fight. And I was just trying to get my head around what that must feel like if that was me. What's your feelings around what's going on there?
Well, I mean, just aside to that, it's like life imitating art, because I've seen so many movies where they go off to battle creatures in the stars and they get 2 days of training and sent off. But this is real life and these are real people. I look at it from two aspects. Having a 17-year-old and a 20-year-old son, I really feel for all the families over there in the Ukraine that are having this happen to their children. If I had, what would happen if it escalated or something like that happened here? I don't know how I'll deal with it. But sons have said they would be proud to go and support their country. So I think the people that are doing this over there have a sense of pride and are doing it for that reason. But what impact does that have on them to say, how scared must they be? 2 days of training and then off to war. Yeah, it's not something that.
I know. I guess we don't know what it's like because we haven't had someone try to take over our country. And if it did happen, I don't know. I'm sure there'll be elements of what they're doing ourselves. But the thing that I find, the worst is when, say, a parent's only got one child, and say it's a single dad, and he's got to put the child on a train, and has to trust that the child's going to end up in Poland or somewhere, and then the father goes, "That's But it is. It's sort of surreal. I never really thought that I would see something like to that level where a person would be treating another country and the people in the way that it's happening. So I and I'm a little bit shocked that nothing's happening. Like no one, there's all these. I didn't really know much about sanctions and about, what's that thing that they want to be part of?
NATO.
NATO, right? Yeah. Like I didn't really know what that meant until now. And maybe that's the problem. I didn't really care, but like now I'm okay. I need to know more because I thought that it would have stopped by now. I thought that people would have interrupted, but no one's interrupting.
No, I think there's a lot of fear about what the person perpetrating this would actually do if there was a physical interruption to what he's trying to do. I think there's a certain level of fear from different governments around the world. And also Russia has a very close ally in China. So that's two very strong countries there. Does the rest of the world want to mess with them right now? I don't know.
Yeah, and the point that you brought up earlier, I don't think that there'd be very much talk about mental health when it comes to like Russia. No. You know what I mean? Like it's like you've got to be, tough and just go and do it. And I don't know if there's going to be, there's going to be a lot of people that are broken after this. Yeah. And there probably won't be support, and so they'll have to probably deal with that themselves,
But, oh, well, I mean, from every aspect, the people the young men that are going off to fight and who survive and come back have to deal with this for the rest of their lives. The families that have already lost young sons who are fighting, but even just from what it seems, there's war crimes taking place and genocide, and all of the families that have lost people through that. It's just, it's horrific. And as you said, it's not something I ever thought that I would see in my lifetime.
Yeah. Or not to this scale. Like, I mean, there was been wars, but like, do you think that if it happened in Australia that people, do you think that people would fight? Because we're Australian, we're Aussies. Like, do you think that there'd be, because there's a lot of people that, remember Russia and Ukraine and all that has much more of a stronger European, element where I don't know if a lot of people believe in fighting in Australia. You know what I mean? So I don't know how it would go. What do you think would happen?
Yeah, I'm not sure in those European countries where they still have national service, which is mandatory for their young men. I'm not sure that still goes on. In some countries it must, but here, I mean, I'm a pacifist. I did some boxing training during SMB times a few years ago on the fitness regime, and that was honestly the first time I've ever punched anything. So I was not someone who fought a lot when I grew up.
Yeah,
and it's my mentality to try and face challenges and deal with them logically. This is so logical.
I know, but it'll be China. See, I have this vision of China, and I've seen movies about it. Like you were saying, there was a movie where these kids go camping. I can't remember what it's called. They go camping. No, this is an Australian movie. They go camping in the Grampians or something, and while they're camping, China invades Australia, right? And apparently they saved the town or something. But but it will be like that. It'll be that sort of thing where I think it won't be like a war. It'll be a slow takeover, and because we don't even have submarines, I don't even know what we can do. We have to sort of like fight in a different way, and I hope that it doesn't get to the point where we surrender and we don't realize we're actually giving over our land, our place.
I mean, I don't know whether it will get to that, but I hope it doesn't come to a fighting or a battle situation. But, I have thought about it. What's going on in the Ukraine has made me think about, and even if that escalates further afield, how would I react to that? And, I thought that I would be willing to support my country in whatever way I needed to, especially for the sake of my children. So that's
yeah. I guess that's the thing that
hard to.
That's the thing that I think that it's interesting that you said that, and also that I didn't think I was going to see it. I think we need to start talking about it because we have to realize and honestly own up to the fact that Australia isn't big when it comes to military, right? And we need support. And so if it does happen, it will happen quicker. It will happen quickly. So we will either have to surrender. And the mental health element, I mean, COVID was really hard. So imagine if war was involved, the mental health part would be, how do we teach our sons and our young men to be a bit tougher? Because, we really have sort of stepped away from being tough, like you were saying about the boxing.
Yeah, it's that's a tough one. I mean, I try and be a good role model for my sons, and the way I do that is to treat them to teach them not to be violent, and to it's not fight or flight. Don't fight, but don't run away. Just face up to the challenges and deal with them in a caring way.
Well, let's add something to the mix now. So let's add Will Smith to the mix. Because now we're talking about fighting and all that. So, I watched that. And so the Ukraine was a shock, but Will Smith was a bigger shock for me. It's like I watched it and I went, okay, like the world's gone crazy. Because I really feel like the Will Smith thing represents like the energy of a lot of men, right? Frustration, anger, not sure. And so there they are on the edge and they get up on that stage and they freaking slap, right? And, for me personally, I got really upset because S&B has worked so hard to teach men about self-acceptance. And in 1 second, it totally unraveled a lot of it. Yeah. How did you feel about that?
I haven't watched the footage. I've heard a lot about it. I've seen pictures of it and a lot of memes of it, but I haven't actually seen it happen. I was shocked that it did happen, but the cynical part of me thought maybe it was done on purpose for the ratings. It was the first Academy Awards in 2 years, and
especially because it was the first black-orientated, and really, what is the purpose of him doing that? Like, what is he going to get out of it? He's lost a lot from it.
Yeah. The thing that did surprise me is the way that the response to it, that it was, okay, he did it. There were no real ramifications for it. Chris Rock obviously isn't taking legal action. So
today I think they announced he's got a 10-year ban he can't attend the Oscars till 2032. Okay. So he's got a 10-year ban. I think that the thing that I was really shocked about was that he did it, and then not even 10 minutes later he then wins the award.
Yeah.
Which is a bit odd. But, do you think that young boys or young teenagers would look at Will Smith as a role model and then see that the slap is giving permission to slap or to hit? Because it is, he did Men in Black and he's very, they love him.
Very action-oriented. I mean, he was one of my role models. I used to love watching his movies. I won't watch another movie of his because no person deserves to be treated the way he treated that person. I guess it's my values, and I will base my judgments on my values. But does it send a message to other people that it's okay? Some people who are already probably thinking along that line will get that message. They'll read into it what they want to read.
Yeah.
Other people who have been given, brought up slightly differently, will see it as the wrong thing being done. I don't think it's going to encourage a lot more slapping situations.
Well, remember, it's the biggest event that is bigger than the Super Bowl. Like something like 22 billion people, or 2 billion people saw it, right? So there has to be some sort of, because like the next day, I remember opening the paper and the headline was, Nazi supremacy groups have proof that blacks are violent. That was the heading.
Okay.
Right. So I'm thinking, oh my gosh. And I know that I live in an area which I won't mention on screen. That is, that's where they have some of the meetings.
Yeah.
So that makes me nervous. So I don't know. Okay. I mean, like, it's sort of like, hopefully we need to talk about emotions, because that's what this is about. Yep. A person had to pretend to be something, right? Yep. His wife's having an affair. All this stuff is being bottled up. One little joke and then a glance at his wife and her look broke it. And so, I don't know. People are going to see more of that.
Yeah, possibly we will. And the other thing that I was going to say was, following COVID and everything we've been through for the last 2 years, a lot of people are going to have a lot of emotions bottled up.
Yeah.
hopefully they'll deal with them appropriately. But obviously,
I mean,
some
how
people
embarrassed
won't.
must the? I mean, I do feel for him because I know that he probably didn't mean it, but the poor guy, I think, he's lost everything. Like all his movies have been cancelled, so he's basically cancelled, which is
Yeah.
fair. But it is funny, isn't it, how one little thing can totally destroy your life?
Yeah. It begs the question: was he getting the support he needed, going through what he was going through as
No,
well?
his
This
wife
is
was
this
his
is
wife. His wife had the balls in that relationship.
yeah. So
Because
but
they publicly, they were quite public. They've got a Facebook show,
right.
and they announced it on there, right? And then he got pussy whipped on there, and so she told him, "Look, the rumor is that he's got a small penis, right?" And so she hooked up with her son's friend, who's young, and all, so it's really intense. And
Okay.
so she wanted to open the relationship. All of that's been bubbling up. Then while that happened, she got alopecia. And
Yes.
so then that joke came out. And so that was
Yeah.
like the camel. I don't think the joke is the reason. I think the other stuff's the reason.
Lying in the background.
Yeah. Has
Yeah.
that ever happened to you? Have you ever snapped like not hitting someone, but do you feel like you've ever had a build up and then you end up projecting the way you feel about something else on another situation?
Oh, definitely. I mean, in the workplace, that can happen very well. It used to happen very easily, I guess, until I started taking more care and more notice of my own mental health. I
Mm.
wasn't as aware of other people's needs in that area.
Mm.
Um, now I have a very nurturing approach to all of my staff. But when I first stepped into this role, because I started running the company 10 years ago with no training, the former MD and the former company secretary both retired at the same time, and I was left there. And
Wow.
a staff member came in that wasn't the right choice for that role. And I remember there was one situation there where it was very uncomfortable for me. And I think I projected that onto other people because I
Yeah.
didn't know how to deal with it. Because I
So
didn't know
that
how to
was the
deal with that
pressure that was
situation.
building up in you. You
Yeah,
projected.
that's right.
So how
Yeah.
did you just like that would have been full on? Like no one did you have to just learn on the job?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. So it was.
Wow.
I mean, I've been with the company 21 years this year, so I've been there a long time. But
Yeah.
that still doesn't prepare you for taking on the role of general manager and looking after all the staff who one day were your friends and the next day are your subordinates. That's a big learning curve. I had some very close relationships with those people and had to take a step back to be able to
Yeah.
do my role properly. As I said, in that particular situation, it was very challenging. I didn't handle that time very well at all. It's as I said, a story for another time. But I've come through that bigger, better, stronger, and definitely a
Yeah.
lot more
And
caring for
we're
myself and
human.
everyone else.
We're
Yeah.
human. Like I remember when Mum died, my sister was really like she was telling me off about something that was so random. And and what I did was I had a bowl in my hand, and this is the only time people that I've ever done this. I just grabbed the bowl and I threw it on the floor and
Okay.
smashed it. So that to me was everyone was in shock. Everyone stopped, and I'm going, okay, enough. And then everyone sort of stopped doing the bickering. It's like the bickering was obviously grief, right? But
Yes.
it's funny how it comes out in another way. It's like if you don't deal with it, it's just like a volcano. So that to me I was a bit scared that I did that, but I know that I would. It's only I'm 55 and I've never done anything like that at all either.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, it'd be interesting to see if any listeners have got stuff and maybe post below because I know that everyone does stuff without meaning to do it, and if we don't, I think talking about it is good because that's the way we learn rather than being secretive and shameful about it. All right.
I guess, and I was going to say, that's one of the beauties of getting to the gym. Even this morning, I was picking up a 12-kilo ball filled with sand and slamming it into the ground. It gets rid of a lot of stress.
I think I want to do sex. Sex is better.
Welcome back. Let's talk about fatherhood, Joey, because that's something that's very close to my heart. But recently in the media and current affairs, there's been a lot of fathers doing bad things. You've already mentioned one, Will Smith. What's his son thinking about him at the moment? So
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. What do we do?
Well, I mean, do you think I'm able to answer that question because I'm not a father? Like I probably, like I don't understand what it's like to be a father, but I do. See, I think my answer is very simple. Like I just imagine everyone just holding hands and being like talking. But I mean, I guess I'll answer it after you. Like, how was you mentioned at the very beginning of this show the separation. So how did you navigate? Like that must be hard. How do you heal from that?
Yeah, it's I was very lucky that my ex-wife and I worked with a fantastic group, the Drummond Street Family Services here in Melbourne. Not every state has a similar service, which is unfortunate for them, but they've been a saving grace for us. And the reason we approached them was because, fortunately, my wife and I separated amicably, and we wanted to do it the best way possible for the kids. And I was going through some of my own issues at that time that I had to deal with aside to the separation. Was challenging, but
so let's ask that when you say that, do you make an agreement not to fight in front of them? Is that what you mean? Like, how do you make a decision to make it easy for the kids when you've got stuff you've got to deal with?
My ex-wife and I never really fought during the whole marriage. And I mean, we were married for over 20 years. I think we always had a very equal relationship and respected each other. I'm sure there's a lot of other relationships like that, and I know there's a lot that aren't like that. So just because we were separating, we didn't necessarily have huge arguments in front of the kids because we never had them when we were married.
Yeah, I mean, you are pretty lucky though. That's a
yes.
really good. That's a great outcome.
Yeah, absolutely. But also, we had the support of this network behind us who were sort of coaching us on how to deal with it. And the thing we were told was, your marriage is over. You have to let that relationship die and form a new one based on the well-being of the kids. And that's what we've done.
So you're saying that you had both of you at a mature place? Because I think that's mature to say, the whole way that you explained it is quite mature. Do you mind just running through, like, in a short version of how you navigated the news to the kids? Like, what happened? How did you do it?
Yeah, so effectively, again, this was with the support and advice of the Drummond Street Family Services. I'll take that out, my ex-wife and I. So with the help and assistance support of the Drummond Street Family Services, my ex-wife and I came up with a plan. We worked towards it for about 12 months. It was extremely nerve-wracking, but we set a date.
Oh, wow. So you knew for 12 months?
Oh, no, I knew that for 12 months we were separating, but it took 12 months to get to this point.
Wow, okay.
We actually knew for 4 or 5 years beforehand that we were separating, but I guess we stayed together for the sake of the kids. And a lot of it was for the sake of my own mental health, to make sure I could get through what I was working through, to be able to, honestly, I'd say, to be here for the kids, because that was an option at one stage, not to be. But because of that, we worked towards a date. It was in December, a few weeks before Christmas. My ex-wife and I knew that we were going to sit down with the kids one afternoon in the lounge room. It's not a party by any means, but we tried to make it as comfortable as possible for them. And we just said, we've got something to tell you. Dad and I, or Mum and I, are separating, and Dad won't be here anymore.
Yeah. I'm guessing that they were like you and your ex-wife, because I can see the intelligence about you two. So were they open and accepting, or did they struggle?
They were shocked. They had no idea. And the interesting thing was, about a week before that, I was beside myself because my young daughter, who would have been 9 at the time, called me and said, bawling her eyes out, saying, "Alexander told me everything. How could you do this to me?"
Oh my gosh.
And I thought, oh no, Alexander worked it out. Do you know what Alexander had told his sister? That Santa wasn't real.
Oh gosh. Well, I was going to say, you're very, very good with planning. Why on earth did you choose Christmas? Like, why did you choose December?
Oh no, that was just the right time. So
yeah.
And as it turned out, so I had arranged for a friend to come to wait down the street for me, so that we told the children, and then I would step back, leave the house for a few hours to give them time to process it, and then came back later that evening, and then a couple of days later started the moving out process. But yeah, they were very upset, but we're lucky. We've got great children. They've accepted it. I've set up a beautiful house here for them. They each have a room here. They're welcome whenever they want. Generally, they're here every other weekend. Even my older son's 20 now. He's at uni. He's busy working. But even he came over and spent a weekend a couple of weeks ago because he wanted to spend time with me.
That's beautiful.
Getting back to the trip, that's why I'm so excited that they're coming overseas, because that's really great time for me to spend with my 2 sons.
Yeah.
And my daughter will come on a trip soon one day, but it's not this year.
But I'm hearing that really what you're saying is that the key is communication.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Preparation and communication, and I guess it is a lot of self-control and self-regulation because, I guess there were probably times when it could have got out of hand and we could have yelled at each other and had huge arguments, but what would that achieve?
Yeah.
What we were trying to do, we were doing for ourselves and predominantly for the kids to make it as easy as possible for them.
Yeah.
Now, I do see them regularly, have a very good relationship with them. I love them dearly. They love me.
Can I ask you, just a normal therapy question is that,
Sure.
so, because you are very idealistic, right? Which I see that you've got everything's worked out really nicely, but are you aware that you also have things that don't work out, or is your life that ideal?
No. There's lots that doesn't work out.
I'm not saying that in a bad way, by the way. I'm just saying that you are lucky, but like sometimes I think people listening, they listen to that and they go, but how am I going to get that? But the reality is that you worked, that was a whole year. You also had your own stuff you had to deal with. So it doesn't come across as being just, it's so easy.
It wasn't a picnic, believe me. and so the friend who picked me up that afternoon just to give me some support, I then moved into his spare bedroom because I had nowhere to go. And I was going to be, well, not a homeless person, but I all of a sudden had 2 households to support, child support to pay, had to look after myself. I didn't have a lot of furniture because we had the one family home. I wasn't going to take all of that away because I knew that, my ex needed that for the kids. And so I was the one that left with, the clothes on my back and my other clothes.
And that ends up being, a lot of men go through that.
Yeah.
What was, what do you feel was the hardest thing that you had to experience by going through that? Was it just not being with them?
Not missing them, but also learning the difference between being alone and loneliness.
Yeah. Okay.
So that was a huge challenge for me because I would cry myself to sleep most nights because poor Sean, I'm all alone.
Yeah.
I'm never going to have anyone in my life. No one loves me, and I did think that I was a terrible, horrible human being. So there was all that self.
But I don't think there's a lot of you've gone through it, so you may know more than me. But there's a lot of support for the mothers, but I don't think the guys get as much support when it comes to someone reaching out and just and also I don't think a lot of guys may even look for the support.
No, and that's why I guess 6 months into being on my own, I thought this is time to do it. I was very anti-social media. So I joined Facebook for the first time, and that's where I found Secret Men's Business, which was a godsend to me. And, when I came and met you at that Christmas party, that was a huge step for me to do that on my own.
Yeah.
And I was really excited to do it because I met other people there that I'm still friends with. So it was a really great opportunity. But I guess the same with what pushes me to do my exercise and fitness and, be the crazy man jumping on anything that doesn't move down along the foreshore to film it for box jumps.
Oh my God, I saw that. That's full on.
Yes. It's exciting. I like doing that. But it's what's driven me to keep moving forward in this because, I could just have fallen in a heap, but that wouldn't serve any purpose for anyone, least of all me. So
And the inspiration is the fact that I really like the fact that we can talk about the dark, but you've now at the other end and you've got this great relationship and you're going away. So people understand that I think a lot of people want it to be good straight away. Or they want, but it takes time. Like I'm 50, like I said, I'm 54, 55, and I had to, my mum died and I don't have a relationship with my dad.
Yeah.
Right. And so all of a sudden I'm living with my dad and we don't have a relationship. So I love the universe. Bloody universe. Like the universe set up this thing where I had to establish a relationship. So it took ages because there was a period where my dad still saw me as a 12-year-old, and I'm 50. So it's interesting how fatherhood can come up and test you at any time.
Oh.
And, I'm thinking, how do I behave here? Do I act like a therapist? Do I tell him to F off? And it's a communication. Like it's a year now and it's now that we're starting to really talk and it's taken a year. Yeah. Like there's so many times I just wanted to go into that room and put the pillow on his head.
And even a separation involves a grieving period. It is like losing someone because you are losing a big part of your life. And
I think any loss, isn't it?
There's the different stages of grieving, and the one that I think I never really went through well was anger.
Because you don't get angry that much.
No, my therapist would say, get angry at something.
Yeah, do you? Why is that? Are you a bit of an accommodator? Do you accommodate people?
No, not now. I mean, some, different staff will say to me, "I don't intimidate, do you? I don't intimidate you, do I?" And I would say, no one has the power to intimidate me because I won't let them do that. No, definitely. I used to be a people pleaser,
Yeah.
so I learned that I can't please all the people all the time, and the world doesn't revolve around
Maybe you're
shore.
not. Maybe you're just not an angry person. You're more of a
Yeah, I
lover.
mean,
Maybe more of a lover.
yeah, maybe on the road, on the freeway, when people are doing 40 in the right-hand lane instead of 100, I might get angry, but
Yeah,
I can contain it in the car and no
also
one else sees
the
it.
boxing thing I think is a really good outlet.
Yeah.
So obviously you get a lot of the stuff that you need to get out by jumping
Oh,
on things and punching things and all
and
that.
lifting heavy things and pushing heavy things. Yeah, no, it really does help. I think that takes a lot of the stress away. And just each morning I go walking. I will try and walk 10 kilometres before work each morning along the bay there from Port Melbourne to St Kilda or wherever it is, and just be in the moment and watch the
Yeah,
waves, look at the sunrise, look at the people walking past, and that just
yeah,
sets me up in a great frame of mind. It's
yeah.
taken a long time to get to this.
So you were. This is what isn't something that you've been doing. Like, were you like this as a teenager?
No, I mean, I was bullied and harassed and assaulted. Or it was not a very nice time growing up
Yeah.
or high school or
So again,
anything.
it shows
But
the progression of your life, and that's the
oh,
important thing of it.
and I think that turned me into a big introvert and people pleaser because I thought if I please people, nothing bad will happen. But that's certainly not the case now. I will stick up for myself and my family and do what's necessary. And I guess go back to Will Smith and to bad fathers in the media. In the right circumstances, the wrong person would not want to cross me if they were doing something to my children. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I can
and that's
imagine.
not, I'm not a violent person, but
Yeah,
I would
you're a
protect my
protector.
family.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, we'll be back after this break. Okay, welcome back to the final backroom forever. And what I wanted to talk about is, well, the budget's coming up, or the election's coming up, but I really wanted to talk about saving money and the way people see money, because it's, again, one of those taboo subjects that we don't openly boast about. Like, oh, I just deposited $10 million in my account, right?
You're
So...
lucky.
But you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of talk at the moment about, are you going to have enough superannuation to retire comfortably? And, even when I hear that as a single man, I still get nervous thinking, are these external factors there to scare me? Or should I just focus on my own, I've always lived a life where I trust myself. I always am okay and nothing bad's happened, right? So let's start off by asking you, how have you taught your sons or your children how to look at money? Because I
It's
think
a very
that's a
good.
really easy way to look
No,
at it first.
yeah, it's a very good question, and to answer that question, I have to look at myself and say, how do I deal with money? Obviously, running a company, I have a budget I need to maintain and look after because it's not my money. So I do that very carefully. But with my own money, it's difficult. What I've always said to my children from day one, well, not day one, but since they were old enough, if their grandparents or relatives or anyone gave them some money for a present, spend half and save half.
Yeah.
Just to try to get them into that concept of saving. I started working at Myer when I was 15 and should have saved every cent that I earned, and I'd be a very wealthy person, but I didn't. I enjoyed spending it, and they enjoy spending it as well. They don't.
So you see money as a, it's not just to be put away and to sat on for another day. It's about using some and also being smart about other things.
Yeah. So if like for children to be given money as a gift, they need to enjoy it. If you just take it from them and put it in the bank, they're just going to get really annoyed with you. I can guarantee you. But to do that, at least you try and train them to think, okay, this is a sensible way to deal with money. Taking the boys to Europe in or next month, I've said to them, they need to save up some money. I said, I can't pay for everything for them, and they both work, and they are saving up money. I think my oldest son has more spending money than I have, but that's okay. That's good on him.
Yeah. And what about how do you look at them and their prospects of buying property?
Yeah,
like with that whole thing about property now and how crazy it is.
Yeah, it's so expensive. I mean, I'm renting, and I think I'll be renting for a long time, and with all the changes I've been through in my life, I didn't think that at the age of 50 I would be renting. That was a big challenge. I look at them and think, will they be able to buy a house? But then I also look at the philosophy. My parents brought me up, oh, you've got to own a house, blah, 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 blah. you don't have to own a house. It's perfectly okay to rent. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
And
it really is. It's really about the mindset, right?
Yeah.
Because like I remember when I was 22, and like this is how weird it is. I went to the gym and I met a guy, and he said to me, and this is weird that I actually took it on. He said to me, "Don't worry about buying a house." He said, "Bank 45% of your salary into super." So I did that at 22.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a weird feeling to have like money there. I did lose a lot because of the shares and all that. But the reality is that when I got unwell about 6 years, 7 years ago, and I couldn't walk, what I learned is that, oh my God, like you don't, when you go through something like that, you don't care. So I went from wanting big things, and now my whole life can fit into a room, right? And so I realized that I don't use as much money because in the, pre-injury days, I would buy things just for the sake of it. Like, oh, look, I've got a big TV. Oh, look, I've got a nice car. Now I don't care. So it is funny how when I see people buying a lot of, like my sister, for example, she just bought a new Mercedes, and in the past I would have got jealous, but like now I just think it's just a car, Well, before it was a Mercedes. So I think that's sort of helped me because now I know as I get older, I'm quite comfortable to live in a small place.
Yeah.
I don't need a big lavish place, and it's weird because I don't know how that happened by being sick. Maybe I just realized what's important. I don't know.
Yeah, well, it gives you time to reset, and you would have had a lot of time to think about things and contemplate life. But
yeah, so I like
it is
spending money too.
And through the changes I've gone through, we used to live, I think, way beyond our means, and I'm suffering from that because I did take all the debt, so I've got a lot of debt there to pay off.
See, like another thing that men take, that men get everything.
Juggling the debt and daily living, school fees, child allowance payments, supporting them, and feeding myself and the kids when they're here. It takes a lot of juggling, and
how come it's not shared out? Like, why is it all on you? I'm not saying you're particular, but no. It is the theme for men, isn't it? Men have to end up doing all that stuff.
Yeah, that's, I guess, is this a protective father coming into play still? I don't know. A lot of it I put on myself through what we were going through, and I guess.
Is it pressure? Do you feel pressured?
Oh, no. More probably self-imposed pressure, guilt, whatever it is that is there. That I took it all on board, and and some of that, I mean, rightly so, because some of that was money I'd spent, but other was like money that had been spent through the years. So it is what it is.
Like when you look at now, like I've just through COVID especially, like I've really discovered that I'm a really good bargain hunter.
Yes.
Like I'm one of the best bargain hunters in the world. Like people who buy, and I used to buy full price.
Yes.
Now that I'm realizing the secret, like I can't believe when you look properly how much money you can save.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, have you always been like that, or did you have you discovered it recently?
We were always sensible, I guess. Where possible, we would save money, but if there was a big brand out there that I wanted, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I would just go buy it without thinking about the consequences. It would just go on the credit card and be paid for later.
Yeah.
And whether that was for me or anyone else in our family, expenses, that sort of thing, that was just what happened. Most of my furniture in this house is from Marketplace, or has been given to me. So,
But see, I'm going to give everyone a clue. Like, so the key is when you know you want something, you've got to be persistent and just can search. Like, you'll be surprised. Like, I've bought things that are worth $1,000 and I've paid 10.
Yes.
When it's all about the timing. Like, you might get it's on sale for a particular hour, I sort of feel like I'm a bit addicted to that. It's getting the cheapest price, and I get really excited, going, "Oh my God, look how much money I've saved!" But I don't know if that's a trick in my head because I'm still spending money.
Yeah. Oh, but you're not spending as much, and it probably does work. I mean, for years there, I would not buy anything new. I'd look on eBay and find what I needed and buy it at a lot lower price. It didn't worry me that it may have been used, for a short time or a long time. It served the purpose, so that was very useful.
And it's good for the planet too, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yes, absolutely. But even my daughter loves the musical Hamilton, and there's no way that I could afford to buy tickets for that. But another friend told me there's a raffle every week for $10 tickets, and so I signed up and entered that every week.
Yeah,
I may never see it, but if I do win the tickets, then I'll be able to take her and see it. So.
But you know what the secret is? The secret is to do 2 lots and buy one ticket at a time.
Okay. Yes.
There's more one-seater tickets than there's 2.
Ah. Okay.
Yeah.
I have to do 2 because of her, so but that's okay.
I know. But how do you? What's your? Do you have anything that you don't sacrifice? Like for example, you know how people sometimes spend $10 or $9 for a coffee, which I don't drink coffee. Like, what's your go-to where you don't care how much it costs, you're going to get it?
No, so I mean, last year I was managing quite well and keeping what I needed. The streaming services that I liked all through lockdown because they kept me going. Being at home a lot, there wasn't a lot of money being spent elsewhere. I gave up smoking before I turned 50, so I was already saving a lot of money there, which was a good decision. This year, expenses have risen, so there was less money to spend. I got rid of streaming services. I didn't need 6 different streaming services because I shouldn't be watching that much TV.
I know.
I did used to buy a coffee every day on the way to work because that was my treat for working hard and during lockdown especially I told myself I was supporting a local cafe to keep them going because they didn't have as many customers.
Yeah.
And I became good friends with the people that ran it. But now I allow myself to buy a coffee once a week, not every day. So, it's little things like that.
Yeah, so coffee, but is there anything that you don't care, you will continue to buy because you know that's you have to have it?
My soap. I love my soap.
Really? Oh my God, that's an answer I didn't expect.
So
you have like a special soap or something?
Yeah, it's from L'Occitane, and it's a lemon verbena soap, which I really love. And that's my one luxury. And a cake will last me 6 weeks, so that's my one luxury that I do allow myself.
I love that.
Time. And you need to do this for yourself.
Of course. With the streaming thing, what I started doing is I just have one, I log on to Netflix once a month, or in 1 month, I really binge what I want to watch on Netflix, and then the next month I cancel it and I go to another one.
Okay. Yep.
So because when you're in lockdown, you're right, you could watch more stuff, but I realized that I wasn't watching and using some of them thinking, what am I doing? I'm only watching one show and I'm paying $18 or something. So I think that's a really big. The price is going to go up there. So I think that's good that we realize that. But I went through an addiction with I discovered the platform and Secret Messages, and I really liked editing, and so I started buying all this editing software and stuff. But 2020 they were all 75% off.
Yes.
So, but now I've got to renew them. I've got to renew them now.
The price is sky high.
Oh my God, it's like $1,000. So that's what I've got to give that up.
And I should say, obviously, the most important thing for me on a weekly basis is my gym membership. I will not let that go. During lockdown, I mean, I've got 2 pallets on their side with a barbell across it. That was my gym set up in the garage during lockdown because you couldn't get to a gym.
You're inspiring me.
I did belong to a local gym. A few dollars a month. I've put that on hold because I can't justify paying for that and the more detailed gym membership that I'm currently just enjoying, and I've committed there for a year. So I will cancel the other gym membership. I'm not paying anything at the moment. I don't need 2 gym memberships.
If I can't, some things you can't just get rid of, can you? Some things the gym to me is it's like a bloodline. You need to have that's something that it's good for mental health. Because otherwise, the more time you have to do nothing and you don't have an outlet, you're just gonna get more and more into that. Yeah. Do you I know this is an ambiguous question, but do you fear that it's going to get a little bit more harder for families and for people because we're going to go into the end of the sort of that fantasy, beautiful 1% interest rate sort of world, and it's going to start changing? Do you think that we're going to start seeing, because having more than one person to look after, you would notice if it goes up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, let's take a step back. Look at what's happened in the last 2 months. Petrol pricings. Yeah. People have stopped driving because they can't afford petrol. I've noticed I do have to travel 70 kilometres from my house to the office, which is ridiculous, but that's what it is. The traffic on the freeways have halved in the last 3 weeks because of the price of petrol. People are going back to public transport, and believe me, if I could use public transport to get to my office, I would, but it's just not feasible.
Yeah.
Food has definitely gone up, and where you save money, the meat that expires tomorrow or today at half price is perfectly good to cook with still. So you look for these little things.
I feel selfish being single.
With the interest rate, with the interest rates going up, I heard on the media, and they do like to sensationalize things, that there's going to be 6 interest rate rises in the next 12 months. So
I know that's going to hit a lot of
People
people.
are going to be shocked. Yeah,
Yeah, because a lot of people are living on the edge. They don't have a buffer for that interest. You know, a lot of people bought houses for like $1 million, thinking they're going to pay 1%, and that's going to really hurt them.
Oh, even if that doubles, that's a lot of more interest that they're paying. So that's it's something that a lot of people are going to feel.
Yeah.
Also, sorry, I've lost that where I was going.
Well, I was going to say, actually, being single, it is a different world. Like, so that is also, you've got more income to spend. And so you do have to sort of remember and go, hold on a second, you've got to be, don't be spending stuff on stuff you don't really need, because you don't, I really do think about like this a lot. I think about you and I think about so many other people, and I go, how on earth if I had to be you, I would fail. Do you know what I mean?
Because you adapt, you manage, you do what's necessary. And I mean, we've all got those skills to be able to do it.
I know, but it's just unusual to think that I've got to actually look after other people.
Yeah.
It is a weird thing to think about, because I've been used to just being looking after myself. So it's, people who've got families, I've got to put my hat out to them, because they've been able to do so much with so little sometimes. And I have only me, and I sometimes freak out and go, I can't do anything, But in reality, other families are actually using less money, and they're doing way more with the money.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
We don't have a choice. We have to. I mean, we've got to put food on the table for your children when that's possible. And there's some families that can't even manage that. So,
like takeout for you, that would be, takeout's expensive. Like you've ordered, like, sorry?
What's takeout?
Shut up.
No, the last takeout, my son wanted Thai food for his birthday dinner last week. So we got takeaway for that Thai food. And yeah, I don't.
Over $100.
My takeout, I eat when I'm traveling for work.
Yeah.
Work pays for it.
Yeah. All right. Shawnee, that went quick.
It sure did. It was a real...
Sorry, I didn't mean to call you Shawnee.
Oh, that's okay. I answer to anything. That's okay. Yeah,
so it's good having a chat, isn't it? And just getting people to think about things that we don't think about. I just want to make sure that we thank... I want to thank Christian Welsh, and I want to thank Aaron. What's his name?
Aaron Flett.
Aaron Flett, not Fleet.
Yes.
You reminded me. And I want to thank you, Sean. So we've had some really good people hosting, and also... we've had a lot of segments from lots of volunteers. I'm not going to mention them all, but it's been amazing. For all the stuff that everyone's contributed over the last 2 years. It's really bizarre to think that 2 years has gone by. From nothing, this is all came. So
it's hard to believe for me that SMB is transitioning onto something else and won't be there anymore. So I'm really grateful to be part of it again, because it really was a big part of my life for that period of time. I loved contributing what I did contribute to it. I know that some people got motivated by some of it, which is all I could ever ask for. And Joey, I'm grateful for all the work that you've put into it as well. It's an amazing effort.
Well, what I want to say, it's all, I mean, I know this might sound odd because it's a men's group, but everything that I do is about for my mum. So it's that's the motivation, to make sure that there's a legacy. But the good thing is everything that we've done is recorded, and everything is there for the next generation. Yeah. So I have, like I was saying to you on the break, I've noticed that more and more people are actually watching it now. Because when I first started doing YouTube, I realized that I really did think that was going to be quick, right? There was going to be lots of traction. But then I researched, and people said it takes about 2 years for that to build up. So I think that now the algorithm is actually now giving people access to it. So I'll stop it, and that's when it'll go big.
And then it'll go big. That's good, okay.
Yeah. But, everything's actually still on the same platform. So the podcast is just changing names, and the new Shaft experience it's linked to the Secret Men's Business. So thank you, Sean.
You're welcome, and thank you, Joey. It was a pleasure being here, and thank you so much for asking me to do this with you.
Don't worry, I may ask you to be on the other show one day.
We'll see.
Thanks, everyone. Keep safe, and we'll see you hopefully on the other side. Bye.
See you later. Bye-bye.